I'm just listening to another book by Ezra Baida, Beyond Happiness. And he starts with elaborating about how chasing happiness will not get you happiness, that happiness is a byproduct of your way of living, and that you really cannot change your circumstances of life in a way that would give you happiness. I agree with that. That's so true. But it kind of reminded me of this strange thing that lurks at the bottom of my heart that I can't fully understand. It's not a belief, because I don't act like that. It's also not the ideology or any kind of rational concept, because I cannot explain that. It's just something that lurks there and it's tingling me. And I don't know if I know how to approach this. So I thought that I will record a podcast episode and see how it will go. Here's the thing about changes. I cannot find in myself how would it be in any way humanly, physically possible to bring a change to anything whatsoever, whether we are talking about a big change or a small change, immediate change or a gradual change. I don't see how you can change anything. And here are my thoughts about it. Let's say that the change you want to bring is a change that inflicts your happiness. Firstly comes the sensation of being unhappy. Can you actually change that? Well, no. You didn't decide to change it yet. At that particular moment, you just acknowledged that you feel less happy. There's maybe some pain, maybe some negative emotions lurking inside, exploring the depths of your emotional spirit. Then, a second later, maybe less than that, there comes a decision. I gotta change that. Maybe in the form of thought, maybe in the form of another emotion, maybe in the form of instinct. Or maybe you completely skip that step, and you go straight to the step 3, and you actually go and bring the change. But here comes the thing. Do you know this Greek little logical puzzle about a ship? I forgot the name of the owner of the ship, / the name of the philosopher that came up with this logical puzzle. Anyway, the question is, if you have a ship, and you replace one part at a time with a ship, at what point the ship stops being the original ship and starts being another ship? If you never rename it, but you keep exchanging one part at a time, at which point ship is no longer the same ship as it's been? How much change is required for you to prompt you to say, hey, it's not the same ship anymore? And it is the same with changing your circumstances of your happiness, in my example. Whenever you're unhappy right now, there's nothing you can do about it. Whenever the decision comes in, I gotta change it. You still didn't change it, you only decided that you gotta, and then you start acting. And as you're acting against this unhappiness, when you try to remove something from your life, when you try to change the situation, you are still acting in a world where the unhappiness lurks. But you just take one item into the other place, and you're changing this, and you're changing that, and maybe you remove some screws, or maybe you're replacing some little parts. And at what point exactly did you solve the problem and remove unhappiness from your life? Whenever you're done, But here's the thing, when you're done, aren't you finding yourself happy? And after fixing the problem of your unhappiness, whenever you find yourself happy again, whenever the problem is solved, can you really say that you changed the situation? You're referring to the past, and the past is gone. You are here right now in the present, living the story of you changing the circumstances. So I guess that my point is that since time is illusory, since time is not absolutely true, but relatively true, you cannot bring a change, because for a change you need time. And there is no time in an absolute sense, in the relative only, when you try to understand the movements of particles, when you try to write a history of something, whenever you're a detective and you're looking for a murderer, wherever you're going to work, whenever you're engaging in the concepts of mind, you need time. But the concepts of mind are not absolute truth, and you know that very well. They're relative truth. They are representations of something. And we as human beings, we as the concepts of mind, we as identifications, we as personas, our personalities, are trapped in time. But that does not mean that the universe exists in time. It exists above that, outside that. And because of that, you can't really change anything, because change would require time. If you want to change the way your body looks, and you get yourself a plan of diet and exercising, and it all is well, supported by science, and it all works out for you after 6 months, let's say, you lost some weight, you're in a better physical fitness. It is true to say that you brought change to your body, but it's a relative truth, not an absolute truth. Because at that particular moment of saying, you are not the person that was 50 pounds heavier 6 months ago. Relatively, you are the same person. Absolutely, you are not even a different person, because there is no concept of different in the present. In the present, everything what is, truly is, and everything what is not, either because it's the past, imagination, or plans for the future, simply is not. It's only yes or no, there are no maybes, there are no conditions. Therefore, if using your rational mind, if you're using the power of logic and the power of science, you do want to bring the change in the external world, you will certainly succeed over time. But you, really you, the one that you might find if you truly look inside, the one that you might find by not finding anyone at all, because there is no one to find, cannot bring any change there whatsoever. You're in here. Your mind travels between different stages of time, but you are in here, just in here, and there is no change that you can bring. You can only find yourself on different stages of change being brought by your mind in its plan for something. You can witness it. You can witness as it transforms. But you cannot grab the whole period of time before the change and after change and take it in your hands and look at it and be like, wow, That's the change. The change happened. You can see only the evidences of past deeds. Use your logical mind to draw conclusions and say it is true. And relatively it is. But way too often we forget that the only thing really is the present moment that we have right now. This particular instance of time, this immeasurable little thing, smaller than any atom, smaller than any quark, this now is the only now there is. And this now cannot be changed. That is exactly why you are unhappy when you want to change now, because you are trying to fight against the impossible. You cannot change what is right now. Letting it go and succumbing to the present, that's the only way to get yourself happiness. That is also why chasing happiness itself doesn't work. Because when you want to achieve the happiness, you can't really do it. You'd require time. There will be some certain steps you have to take in order to achieve happiness. But letting go requires no step. Not even a single one. No step whatsoever. In D&D, we would say there is a swift action. It requires no time. Letting go. And as a byproduct of it, you'll get the happiness. You'll get the contentment. You'll be very, very content with this present moment. Because there are only two options for you. You either are or you are not. So when you are not content with the present moment, whenever you deny it, whenever you resist it, you're going to be unhappy. Because fundamentally, there is nothing you can do about this present moment. These are my thoughts.